Right, good to go, Mike.
Sure, everybody, and welcome to the Waipuna Halswell-Hornby-Riccarton Community Board. The meeting's about to be live streamed. So we're live now. So yeah, thanks very much for joining us today. Have we got any apologies? I don't think there are any apologies. So moving on then to declarations of interest, is there? Yes,
I don't
Catherine?
think, I hope the meeting won't last that long, but I have to leave here at 6:30.
Okay, okay.
Yeah.
Resolution to accept that
I've got a
apology.
meeting at 7.
Well, I'll accept an apology for early departure from Catherine Chu. She's got to be away by 6:30, but anyway, we're hoping that we'll have the meeting over by then. So thanks very much for that, Catherine. I'll move that we accept that early departure apology, seconded by Mark Peters. Is there any discussion? Well, I'll put the motion in. All those in favour say aye. Aye. Against, if any? Carried. Thank you. Confirmation of our minutes of the previous meeting. Oh, yes.
So that's
No.
the
Declarations of interest. Is there any matter on the agenda today that members want to declare an interest in? If so, say so now. No, nothing. Thank you. So moving on then to the confirmation of our minutes of the 31st of May and the public excluded minutes of the 31st of May as well. So it's moved by Mark Peters, seconded by Gamal. Is there any discussion? No. Well, I'll put the motion in. All those in favour say aye.
Aye.
Against, if any? Carried. Now moving on then to a very interesting part of our agenda, which is the public forum, and we welcome David Bollum-Smith, who's going to talk about the Kurashiki Wall in the Halswell Quarry Park. Would you like to come and join us, please, David? And over there with you back to that screen up there would be fine. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
And we're looking at the wall, so we're in your hands,
Okay.
David.
Oh, sorry, David.
That's a good one to start with.
Sorry.
Right,
Okay.
we're ready to go.
Righto. Thank you.
You're very welcome.
You're konnichiwa and hello. My name's David Bollum-Smith, as you already said. I have been on the Christchurch Kurashiki Sister City Committee for about 36 years. And I was responsible for a lot of the designing of the Japanese garden. This plan that you can see at the front there, this is the original drawing that I made to the City Council for the entrance to the Kurashiki garden. And the walls either side are in the same design as the rice warehouses, which are on either side of the canal in Kurashiki. And the pathway in there is actually represents the canal that runs through Kurashiki. So back in the early days when we did the funding, we didn't have the funds for the left-hand side. Is there another slide? Yes, so what we wanted to do is to match the right-hand side with the left-hand side to make a more attractive entrance to the garden. And also, it's as you can see, there's a seat that's on top of the wall there. The wall, it's 600 millimeters high, 6 meters long, and 300 millimeters wide. So it's quite a low, small, insignificant wall. It also means that we can grow plants behind the wall as well. We have one more slide, please. Okay. Can I can just hold that up, maybe the people online, I'm not sure, but at the moment, it looks like that. And when it's finished, it'll be very attractive and have a lovely entrance.
Excellent.
For your thing.
Very good.
Yeah. So the work will be done by a very accomplished stonemason who's working on the Christchurch Cathedral. And so it will be of very high quality. We have got the finance to go ahead with it. And he has put aside a couple of weeks in November this year in his busy schedule to start work on it should I receive final permission from the community board to go ahead. It's a very simple little project. I'm very happy to answer any questions. As far as I'm concerned, there is no heritage buildings or anything nearby. It's not going to affect anybody or anything. Its height is well within the range of the height of the structures. So that's pretty much it.
Thank you very much, David. Is there any questions?
One from Jimmy.
One from Jimmy. Jimmy Chen.
Oh,
How are
Jimmy.
you, David?
Oh, hello, Jimmy.
Good to see you. I ask you, thank you for your presentation, very attractive. I just want to know today your purpose, to make the adaptation in the community board is you try to seek in the funding or you try to seek in the consent.
I just know the funding is already arranged, Jimmy. It's just presenting the plan to the community board for their approval.
Oh, okay, thank you. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Jimmy.
It's my understanding that there'll be a report to come from the board to the board on this for its final approval. So how far away will that be, Faye? Do you know?
No, I don't.
No.
Sorry.
Okay.
Yeah.
So it'll certainly before November. The other thing is I'm aware that we've already had a heads up on that when you did the previous section of the garden that this was coming.
Yes.
So we were aware that there was going to be another stage 2, which included the walls.
Yep.
From my memory as well. So very, very pleased to have that presented to us today, and we really look forward to its completion.
Oh, thank you. It took a little while, but we got there.
Yes, is there any other questions from anybody? No? Thanks very much for your presentation today, David.
Yep.
And as you've heard, we will be getting a report from to our board to finally give it the tick of approval. But thanks very much for the heads up and all the work that you're doing.
All right. No, thank you.
Thank you very much.
It's a beautiful asset to the city, and I'm just profoundly. We've got 78 cherry blossom trees out there now, and one of the magazines in Christchurch said that the go-to place for cherry blossoms now is the Horsell Quarry in the Karaski Garden.
Not Hagley Park.
When I read it, I thought all that hard work in the past was worthwhile.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, David. Good to see you.
Thank you.
Now moving on then to our next presenter, Mr. Mark Alexander, who's come to talk to us about Brockworth Place and parking issues. Thanks very much, Mark, for bringing this to our attention, and thanks for the work you've done in preparing for this presentation to our community board.
What do you want to
If you bring up map B rather than map A. Thank you.
You need to share your screen.
Tēnā koutou katoa. Ko Mark Alexander toko ingoa. Thank you for the opportunity to speak with you and make a request of you today. Our son has just purchased a flat in Brockworth Place, Riccarton. He can't be here today as he's at work, as is my wife, so you get me as a poor substitute. When we came to view the property, we found that there was very limited on-street parking on Brockworth Place. We had to park about 200 metres from the property. This wasn't an issue for us, but I felt sorry for the residents who may daily have the same issue. Brockworth Place is in the residential medium density zone with a high number of residents and a very limited parking. That Google Maps view, you can kind of just see the density of the houses. There's many multi-unit dwellings, 3 or 4 units deep. If we could go to Street View A, thank you. Thank you. It's the recent government national policy statement has removed the requirement of on-street parking for new builds, which will only exacerbate this problem. It's also made worse by the number of wide driveways, often next to each other, servicing the multiple occupancy sites. So you can just see the start of one there. And if we go to the next picture, the final picture, you'll see again where there are multiple driveways next to each other, which again further reduces their wide driveways and they further reduce the on-street parking. But what we also observed, and you can see it there, is Brockworth Place is actually a very wide street. For a residential street, it could have angled parking down one side, possibly both, but I think one's probably more feasible, without unduly restricting the traffic flow. Some will say that angled parking is inherently unsafe as vehicles have to reverse out of a park onto the carriageway. The vehicle movement, correct, but the unsafe lane isn't always correct. Brockworth Place isn't a thoroughfare. It's not Riccarton Road, Clarence Street, Deans Ave. It's a C-shaped residential street with both ends terminating on Deans Ave. It isn't a route to somewhere unless you have business here. In fact, the Talking Heads song, A Road to Nowhere, kept running through my head as I wrote this. But I think that might be just a little bit harsh than Brockworth Place. Angle parking will allow residents to park closer to their homes. It'll increase the capacity of Brockworth Place at the cost of some paint on the road. It may not even need new signage. It will increase the amenity value of the area. So it's a really easy, quick fix without a lot of cost in it. Looking at your community board delegations, it appears to me that you have the authority to approve angle parking if you choose. That's all my son, my wife and I seek from you today. The installation of angle parking on one side or both sides of Brockworth Place. Thank you for your time. Ngā mihi nui.
Thank you very much, Mark. Thanks very much for bringing that to our attention. And I must say that some of us are aware of that issue, you know, not only in Brockworth Place, but post the district plan review of the intensification in that area. So it's you know, you're welcome to put that. We've got Mark Peters and Gamal.
Thank you very much for your presentation there, Mark. It was very insightful. One thing that struck my head, it sounds very sensible, the angle parking. I wonder if perhaps we could look at the idea of angle parking in staggered one side, then the other side to, I don't know, it'll help to
Slalom.
Yeah,
Slalom effect.
it helps to control traffic and make them want to go slow as well, which isn't a bad idea in a residential street like that. So
Yeah, we'll see what the traffic engineers come up with, but that's a good idea. Gamal?
yeah, also
Oh, sorry, did you want Mark to answer that question?
I'm not a traffic engineer, but I've dealt with enough of them.
Okay, Gamal?
Yeah, actually, it's very close to the mosque.
Yes, it
I'm there, and I go there quite often. And I think also adding to this is the humps. There are more than one, or probably three. So it will also reduce the speed of people going there. So one side probably also I would support one side of this road to be also angle park.
Thank you for your question.
yeah,
Your question's that's a good idea. Thanks, Gamal. Catherine, did you have a question?
No, I was saying Helen.
So, oh, Helen? Yes? You need to unmute, Helen.
you need to unmute, Helen.
Yes, sorry. Yes, I'm very impressed that you knew that parking on street, that the requirement for councils to make parking on site has gone. Can I ask you, a lot of people aren't aware of that. Can I ask how in fact you found out about it?
I'm a Selwyn District Councillor and also a RMA Hearings Commissioner. So
you picked it up from that. Yeah, good. No, that's good.
Okay, any other questions? Yes, Jimmy's got a question. Jimmy's got his hand up.
Okay, yeah. Mark, good to see you.
And then Andre. Yep.
I just want to know the Brockworth Place. I don't know, actually is how many households? Most of them is maybe staff aware, I'm not sure. And it's more rentals or it's more kind of the house, the owner.
I don't know the breakdown. As I say, my son's just bought a flat there, 3-bedroom flat. He's been across the central city.
Yes.
For a suitable apartment / flat.
Yes.
So, but it's I've always been a reasonably heavily number of occupancies. When I was a student 40 years ago, it was very much a student flatting location even then. So, and it will, under the new rules and with the new medium density rules coming in, become even more
absolutely. Yes.
Dense.
Yeah. Okay, thank you. Thank you.
And we've got a question from Andre.
Thank you. Yeah, sort of picking up on your question, actually, Jimmy, the answer is heaps. This makes me feel a little bit old, actually, because the first flat I moved into was 14 years ago on Brockworth Place. And our place, I can't remember what number it was. It was in the 30s, but we had 4 units, and each of those 4 units had about 5 or 6 people living in them. So we're talking 20 people living in one, in one place. So it must be a huge amount of people living on there. But my question, because it makes a whole lot of sense to me, and it sounds like a whole lot of common sense. So there may well be plenty of pushback coming, but I'm wondering if you have any examples of other similar streets in Christchurch that the kind of parking you're suggesting exists. The only sort of one I could think of is somewhere like Hagley Ave, which arguably would probably be just as busy as Brockworth Place.
Well, I would have not. No, I don't, because I'm no longer a Christchurch resident and haven't been for some time. But Hagley Ave, I would think is a much busier street.
I would have thought so. Yeah.
And so when I looked at it simply by walking down the street and thought, well, as I said, it's not a thoroughfare. It's not a road you get to anywhere but Deans Ave. So it's not going to have the same sort of issues. It can be argued that Hagley Ave, with its traffic volume and angle parking, is actually a bit more of a problem. But I can't see it for Brockworth. It's a nice wide street. It's probably one of the wider residential streets. And there is plenty of room for at least one side. And as Mark said, if you staggered it, you might get a traffic calming effect out of it as well, which would be a bonus.
Yeah, I'd say it probably needed it 14 years ago from memory. So
40 years ago.
And can only imagine how many more people live there now, and more people in cars, because our bus services have gone backwards over the years. But yeah, thank you very much.
Thank you. No further questions. Just thanks again, Mark, for bringing that to us, and we will ask for a traffic engineers to come up with a report for us to consider, and we will keep you informed as much as we can along the way. Thanks very much. Thank you.
Excellent. Thank you, Mark.
Thank you. Moving on now to deputations by appointment, and there are none. Presentation of petitions, there are none. Moving on then to correspondence, we have a lovely letter come in from the Templeton Resident Association, so I would like to move that we accept that.
I'm second.
Seconded by Jimmy. Good on you, Jimmy. Is there any discussion?
Comments, okay. Can we comment or not?
We're receiving the correspondence, but anyway, I'll let you go ahead then, Jimmy.
Go on, Jimmy.
Okay, yeah. Because while I remember this has been happened for more than 4 years. In that time, a community board, we worked, closely with the Templeton community, and also I remember, we grant funding to them also in a council. I also convinced our mayor and the fellow councillors, eventually, a council also we oppose, those kind of the consent, the decision, and join together with the temple community against this issue.
Yep, that's
Also,
right,
community board make the group the submission. As a local council, I make my individual personal submission. Just want to let you know. Thank you.
We're well aware of that. Thanks very much, Jimmy. Thank you. Okay, so I'll put the motion in that we receive that item of correspondence. It's been moved by, you moved it, Mark, and it was seconded by Jimmy Chen. All those in favour say aye, against if any. Aye, carried. Thank you. Moving on then to the proposed road names in 511 Halswell Road.
I'd like to move that.
Okay.
Been moved by Debbie, seconded by Mark Peters.
Only one question.
Yes, Jimmy.
Paragraph 3.20. I'm not sure if Linz, they do not support this name because due to the routing addressing not meet the standard. While the council staff, they would like to prefer this white tramway without the road. I just want to know what's the rationale regarding 3.20.
Okay, Jimmy. Well, I know that there's been consultation with the Halswell Resident Association, and
yes.
the feedback that we've got from them is that they are happy with that, or happy enough. They were happy with what's the report that's before the board now. So
yeah, I know, but actually they go with the links rather than the staff one. Am I right? So staff is eventually still go with links, but they ask the community board make decision on the table in here.
Yes, well, that's what we'll be doing today, won't we?
Yeah. So this one we need to make decision. I think public links more reasonable rather than the officer one. Yeah, because we have to meet the routing standard.
Yep. Absolutely. Matthew's going to speak to that.
I mean, as the report says, ultimately the decision lies with you. That I think the note that the council officers are making is so 3.20 says council. So the proposed road name is White's Tramway Road. Council officers preferred White's Tramway without White's Tramway Road, in the same way that the runway in Wigram is called the runway, not the runway road.
Yep.
Yes.
So the decision ultimately lies with you. It's a small change, so you could change it from.
But Linz don't support it.
Yeah. So.
But I'm concerned because the links particularly remind us this without the road is not meet the routing standard.
Okay.
We need to get an answer.
Support road. I'm happy to support road.
Yeah. I support the road. We need to meet a standard, routing standard.
So hang on, what's the recommendation?
The recommendation is tramway.
Road. No, the recommendation is for tramway road. So
Yeah.
the recommendation is for White's Tramway Road, which is what Lynn supported.
Yeah.
Council
That's right.
staff prefer White's Tramway because they didn't think he needed White's Tramway Road because a tramway is a road.
Yes.
So if you follow the recommendation, which is the one that Lynn's preferred,
Yes.
White's Tramway Road,
Yeah.
you have the option to go White's Tramway. So, I mean, that's all you're talking about, really.
Yeah, that's right. So if that's true, the last sentence we should delete. It's nonsense. The decision on this automatically lies with the community board. It's because we already recommend with the links, also staff agree with the links. Why they still have this sentence? Not necessary, my view.
Okay. It gave us the option. So
Recommendation has been moved and seconded.
the recommendation has been moved and seconded. and there's been discussion on that, so I'll put the motion. All those in favour say aye.
Aye.
Against of any, carried. But I just want to note that on that report, the attachment, it says Otumatua Reserve, and I've just had it brought to my attention that the wording of that reserve should have macrons involved in it. So I'd just like to make that note and attach that note to this report. So we'll just leave it at that, because we're not making a decision on the name of that reserve today. It's been passed on to staff. It's been already passed on to staff. So thank you very much for that. So moving on then to our next item on the agenda, which is the funding applications, the discretionary response fund applications. And we'll welcome Sam and Bailey. Oh, sorry, Bailey. Sorry, Bailey.
Right.
Yeah, welcome.
Yeah. First one in a while.
Yeah, nice to be here. It is. So we're in your hands. Everybody's read the report.
Yeah. Any questions?
And is there any questions?
I'd like to move it.
Been moved by Debbie. Seconded
I
by,
have a question.
Gamal. Seconded by Gamal. Now sorry, you've got a question, Jimmy?
Yeah,
Go for it.
okay. First question regarding to the Korean society, those their festival, and regarding to organization detail, $10,000 this year Korean Day Festival. I remember here mentioned a withdrawal, but I remember a couple of weeks ago in Council Committee Resilient Committee, we grant $9,000 in here, so they need to change amendment, or whether staff can confirm with the officer, because communities Resilient Committee already granted $9,000 2 weeks ago.
Thank you. And I see Bailey nodding. So Bailey, can you help with that question? Jimmy's saying that the council have already given him a grant for $9,000.
So Jimmy, that application was withdrawn. So it went to that fund, but it didn't actually qualify. So it was transferred into the discretionary response fund.
Does that answer your question, Jimmy?
I'm not sure, because my understanding a couple of years ago, Community Resilient Committee grant this one, yes. But it's not related to this application, just want to confirm, all information should be correct. This second question is the last one. We grant the funding to the Smash volleyball, $500. I just want to know, because these are two joint community ball, the Sweden and Kashmir, they already grant the funding or not yet for 1,500?
Yes, they've already granted it. It went to a community board meeting already.
Okay, thank you. That's my two questions. Thank you.
Thank you, Sam. Thank you, Bailey. It's been moved and seconded. Was there any more questions on this? No? Well, then I'll put the motion. All those in favour say aye.
Aye.
Against of any? Carried. Thank you. We're trucking along pretty good, team. And the next one is the Waipuna Halswell-Hornby-Riccarton board area report.
Happy to move.
Catherine was happy to move that, and Mark Peters was happy to second it. Is there any discussion?
Question/discussion.
Question? Go ahead, Andre.
So 3.6 Milne Spark Sutherland's road submissions. So it reads that there were 90 submissions we received through the annual plan process on the Milne Spark Sutherland's road intersection upgrades. There were 100 submissions, not 90, and I've got a copy of all of them. So I guess my question is, are we able to amend this report to indicate that? I'm happy to read out the list of the 100 submissions right now, in fact, but there are 100, there's not 90. Council have misreported this for a number of weeks now.
Matthew, do you want to respond to that?
Yeah, I was going off the information that I'd been provided. If you've counted them, then
Yeah.
I mean, yeah. So we can amend that to 100.
Okay.
We kind of mean that we can note.
We can, yeah. What we'll do,
put a note
we'll
in the
note it in the
minutes.
report. The report. So what happens with this report is this report gets reported through to council. So if we note it in the minutes, we can note it when it gets reported through to council.
Great. So are you happy with that, Andre?
Yeah, as long as it's noted, yeah, just as clearly as possible. There's literally 100 there, so I don't know which 10 they've decided to exclude, but those 10 people, you know, don't deserve to have their submission not included in that number.
Correct.
So Catherine and
Simple
Mark,
democracy.
Yeah.
are you happy to amend your resolution to receive it and note
Yes.
that doesn't, should be 100?
Okay. So it's been
Right.
noted, it's been moved second, and then the mover and the seconder accept that the acceptance of that note. Is there any further questions on the report?
Mm-hmm. I've got one.
Helen? Yes? Helen, go ahead.
Helen, you muted yourself.
Unmute. Right. Yes. Now, I should have picked this up in our pre-agenda setting. I'm not used to these memos coming out, but they have, and it's good. The former Sockburn Service Centre site, it looks as though our council's wanting to sell that, but it doesn't get sold to us, it goes to the Crown. So the question I've got is, why do we not keep that site? It doesn't, I mean, it doesn't seem to make sense to on-sell what I think is quite a valuable bit of land for no commercial purpose.
Good question, Helen. I couldn't see a response to that in that report that I read, other than they haven't indicated the area of land that they wish to put up for sale or what purpose it's going to be. And I didn't want to talk to this tonight anyway, but just a bit disappointed in that report, that memo as well, about why all the trees were clear felled, and how disappointed this board was to actually find out, without coming to our board at all, that those trees were going to come down, and we got a lot of concern from our residents about that. So, but we can't do much about that now. They've been clear felled, and I've voiced my opposition to the process.
Yeah, I'm actually concerned more about us selling land that goes back to the Crown to Ngāi Tahu, because I can't see why we just can't have bare land there, and at some stage there will be a purpose for it. And I wonder if we could leave that memo to our next meeting and have Angus Smith along.
The decision, Helen, the decision, as I understand it, has been made. So the disposal of it went out for consultation through the LTP. I don't believe the board made a submission to retain it through the LTP.
There was submission to retain it.
Possibly, but 2.18 in the memo says the council made its decision about the potential retention or disposal of this site through its long-term plan process.
Yeah. So that's last year's long-term plan, or
the decision has been made. The memo is coming back to you saying the trees have gone. Here are the reasons why the trees have gone.
And they're going to open up the closed drain and put some planting along that as well. So they're going to bring that drain back to life again and open it up. So that's going to take up a bit of room as well, because it's piped now under the service centre site, and they're going to open it up.
Well, I wonder if we could get then, if the call's been made, could we get Angus Smith along to our next meeting to explain why council is keen to actually sell? If they've decided to sell the land, that's their call. But can we understand why they would even do that?
Well, my understanding is it's a statutory process, Helen. Once it's the land's no longer required for the purpose for which it was set aside, then under the Public Works Act, it needs to be dealt with under that process, which is an offer back and sale or whatever from there on.
Yes, but the kind of issue is, I think there are some needs there actually.
But you didn't.
But what I'm trying to say is, can we get him along to explain why
Helen,
he believes it's not needed. And
The decision's been made.
Unfortunately, Helen, the decision's been made like it was to take the trees down.
you don't know.
That decision has been made, and all we can go by now is what's in the report, because it's just, the report hasn't come to us for a decision. It's, that report is by way of a memo that's going to be presented in our area report to the council.
Yes, I know, but look, the issue is, why would you even embark on selling land if it's just going back to Ngāi Tahu and the Crown?
I
That's
agree.
what the council's decided to do, Helen, and we can't do anything about that now.
Well, no, I think a staff member could come and explain that to us.
Okay, well, we can do that offline. Helen.
Okay, we can come along.
Now, I've got a question from Andre. You've got
David.
your hand up, Andre.
My hand was actually supposed to be taken. Oh, it's a question separate to what we're talking about now.
No, I've got my hand up for now.
Debbie's got a hand up. Okay, go Debbie.
Yeah, following on from Helen, I know you've said that the decision's been made. We have many a time where the staff have come to us regarding surplus land and what we want to do with it. And I think where Helen is coming from is, can we please have it provided to us? When did staff come to us about the surplus land and what we wanted to do with that particular area? We are always.
It was a list of that came through the annual plan process. A list of disposable.
Do you mind if I finish first?
Well, you were asking a question and we came up with an answer before.
I was halfway through my question. I was just trying to point out some background. So what I'm trying to ask going forward is, because many a time we talk about surplus land like Halkett Road, etc., and I just wouldn't like to see this happen again. So can we please put in a request that this doesn't happen again before coming specifically to the board on a specific surplus land issue, because I know over the last 8 years this has always been the process. What do we want to do on this piece of land? And it may have been overlooked, and I get it may have been overlooked, and the decision has now been made, which we have to accept. But what I'm just saying is, going forward, can we please ensure that any surplus land comes to our board first?
An answer to that, it seems like the council have agreed to change the process.
Yeah, so you'll remember a wee while ago the council changed that process for disposals. The process changed as we were going through the Quaifs Road conversation, and council, because they'd started off with the process where they already went to the community board, they continued on through that process, the community board for Quaifs. And so that process has changed. With regard to this one, you did get a list of disposals through the LTP. So this was on the list of disposals. And then there was the public consultation. And as well as that, council have asked internally, can we use this site for anything else? And we've said, no, we can't. So it's gone through a lengthy process to get to here.
Yeah. Well, I hear what you're saying, Matthew, and thank you. What I'm trying to highlight here is that many a time, our councillors, our mayor has often said that our community boards know our communities best. And so I'm really shocked to hear that the process has changed. So you're saying that council staff are going to be making decisions going forward about surplus land without even coming through to our community board.
Council make the decisions, and the process is, so you still get updated through the community board.
Updated, but not
to say we are. So the process would be, we are going to take this piece of land and recommend for disposal or recommend reuse through the council. So there's still, you're still included in the process.
But not on this particular piece of land on Sockburn.
Yes, we were.
Yes,
you were on this piece of land through the LTP process.
Yes, we were, and I can remember saying that City Care, we're going to move from Milton Street, and why don't the council keep that land from Milton Street And there was another department of the city council as well that was relocated. And we at the time said they should consider that relocation to that site as well. But the council itself decided that they didn't want to go down that track. I note that the Milton Street Yard's got a garage sale going this weekend, Friday to Saturday. If you want to go down there, if anybody wants to go down to Milton Street Yard and get some furniture and stuff for $2 gold coin donations, go down there with your trailer on Friday and Saturday.
What time?
We'll send you the post if you like.
Stick to the
Hey,
chat.
thank you. Thank you. I think we did that. Thank you.
Okay, so with that noted, then I'll put the motion.
Andrew,
Sorry, Andre.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah,
Yep.
I had a slightly different point, but the one Debbie made was quite a good one. And I mean, we've got examples of Quaves Road where it did go to the community board. Community board had their say, the public had their say, 100 submissions put forward, but council decided not to listen anyway. So, yeah, it does need to be a better process going forward, but the process needs to mean something if there is one too.
Yes.
The other point I was going to make is on 4.6 community parks update. Halswell #1 football and cricket ground renovation has been a success with full grass cover established and level issues addressed. This has been an ongoing issue there, so it's something that we do need to watch. A lot of the teams there have had to move games to Warren Park, and the Premier's team haven't been able to play all their home games at that ground due to the conditions of it. So we need to watch closely as to whether the improvements in to that field are able to last the season. So just something we need to watch and something to be mindful of.
Okay, thank you, Andre. Mark Peters.
Yeah, just to sort of continue that labouring of that large list that we had in the long-term plan to try and recognise our particular properties that were being disposed of. I, for one, found that quite overwhelming in the fact that there's a massive list, and we got caught out, Mike, as Hornby reps with Gilberthorpe's Road.
Yes.
And I'm hoping that's getting sorted out, but
there's a meeting.
We shouldn't be put in that position where we have to try and fight the fire to bring it back.
Correct.
Yeah.
So,
imagine if that was the process for Halswell Domain and Halswell Quarry, they would have just flown through and got sold off all those years ago.
Shocking. So hopefully we can make some noises and note it.
Okay, noted. Yep, thank you. Thank you. Is there anything else then on the area report? Okay, I'll put that motion then. All those in favour say aye. Aye. Against of any? Carried. Thank you. Moving on then now to our last item on the agenda, which is the elected members information exchange. And I'd just like to start the ball rolling, if I can, to acknowledge that we had a meeting on Friday afternoon with residents of Kathleen Crescent regarding the trees there, and it was quite a good turnout of residents and staff. We had our arborist there, and Matthew as well was taking notes. So there has been the notes of that have been circulated as well. So I'd just like to thank staff for responding to that request, and our arborist turning up that day and putting the people's minds, giving them a glimmer of hope of what we can see happening there. And the other one is the Hornby Centre site visit as well on Friday. And that was really exciting to go to that site and find out that there's only 3 more piles to drive, and then they can really start getting into all the under material and that, and the waterproofing and gas barriers and everything's been done. So it's virtually at the stage where they can actually start construction and pouring concrete. So it was, we're very grateful to have the opportunity to visit that site, and staff were there, the contractors were there to explain the situation to us. So that was really good. So hats off, and the hospitality that the contractors showed us as well was really, really good. So yeah, and no, really that's it from me. I know there'll be others, so I won't hog up your time. Jimmy, you go.
Okay, just quickly to share 2 issues. First one, the council, where the commence all the annual plan, the kind of adoption. But next Tuesday, we'll review all those amendments and then reconvene on the Thursday. So possibly on Thursday, council will adopt a formal our annual plan. Just want to share with you. Second is you are aware the last Thursday the council meeting, I move and councillor and also the Jack McLennan, second regarding to all the Halswell Junction Road extension, the project, the increase our budget for $5.5 million. So our now this project total the budget and the cost is $80 million. Then the contractor can go ahead, and also those forecast the delivery date will be in June of next year. Just these two, just share with everyone. Thank you.
While you're on that, Jimmy, I'd just like to add that I've seen Kiwi Rail contractors working at the current intersection of Halswell Junction and Waterloo Road. And I've also seen survey equipment down at the new link intersection. And I did take copies of the memo that came out after our meeting on Thursday, Jimmy. I took copies of that memo and went and door knocked down that section of Halswell Junction Road and gave them the good news that they were finally getting the cul-de-sac and the heavy trucks and traffic in that area will be gone. So they're very excited about that. Yeah. So I'd just like to acknowledge the support that that the councillors gave us to have that missing link get underway. So thanks for that.
Yeah, also thank you, the chair. You and me, we follow up this kind of project for probably 5 or 6 years. Yes, yeah. Thank you.
Okay, I've got Anne and then Helen and Gamal.
Kia ora. I actually wanted to acknowledge Jimmy with the Halswell Road, Junction Road extension. He's been really persistent with bringing that to the council and working really hard to get that sorted. So, well done, Jimmy. Secondly, we had a great meeting with residents at Ngāpunawai, and it did make me wonder if there's any chance of having community board meetings there, alternating perhaps between the Riccarton Centre and Ngāpunawai, just to perhaps make the meetings more accessible to people and spreading it throughout the ward, but also because Ngāpunawai is a fantastic community facility and many people don't know exactly what's there. That it is a place that they can come, they can have a coffee, they can play a game of cricket, they can have a picnic, they can go for a walk, and it would be a nice way to actually raise the profile of Ngāpunawai if we were to have meetings there. So just a thought.
Yeah, somebody probably was there.
Okay, carry on.
I've done. All done. Thanks.
Okay, thanks very much, Anne. I've got Helen, Gamal, and Andre. And Mark.
Helen's muted. Helen, you're muted.
I'm unmute. Yes.
Yes.
Unmute. Yes. I have a question. I had a question which has eluded me, but I'm getting some large maps printed of Riccarton and intensification. And I think I'll bring them to our next meeting. I think you'll be quite shocked at how much of Riccarton is going to potentially 6 stories. It would have been quite good to have had Megan there, but that hasn't happened. But it's far beyond, I think, any other suburb, and that's because of can I continue? That's because of the Bush Inn, which has a ring around it, and also you've got Westfield, and I believe they haven't been consistent in terms of how far away it has to be before it becomes a 6-story zone. Claire Mulcock of the precinct of the Deans Avenue Precinct Society is highly concerned. They're and that's Brockworth Place. They're currently medium density. They're going to high density. And it's
Okay,
got
thanks,
issues,
Helen.
issues in fact for the mosque as well, for Gamal, because any building around his mosque or the mosque can go to 6 stories. So I think we're going to have to stop it. And I think there's going to be further submissions on it, but it's just got to be stopped, basically. Thank you.
Helen. Thank you. Gamal,
Yeah, thank you, Helen. And I think to
you can take your mask off when you're speaking if you wish, Gamal.
thank you, Helen. And I think to continue from the Dean's Avenue Precinct Society, I think they are struggling now to get more volunteers. And unfortunately, we don't want this to happen, that they close it. It's a very important association in the little area in Riccarton. And if there are any residents listening to us now, I would like to encourage anybody in Riccarton to be to volunteer to this important society and association. It would be lovely to see them continuing to do their service to the community.
Thank you. Thank you, Gamal, for that ad for the Dean's Ave Precinct Society. Thank you. Andre, Mark, and then Debbie.
Thank you. I'll just start by pointing out, I know that this term is coming to a close and we've been here for a bit, but my name is Andre. This is for all board members, not targeting anyone. My name is Andre, not Andre. Andre is French. Andre is Romanian. I'm not French. So we'll need to be addressed as Andre going forward. Thank you.
Thank you.
I'm happy to give reminders every once so often. I know that they are needed. My update, I attended the Halswell Rugby League Club Day. Very good day had by all. The weather was perfect. I noticed in the area report line markings at our local sports field. The line markings at Club Day were absolutely superb. We'll point out it had big Hornets letters in the goals. They looked great. And I'm not sure if the board is aware or not, but Halswell did beat Hornby 36-24 on that day. I assume the board is aware, but just in case you're not, this is my update. The Korean War Veterans Pavilion that had its opening. Just a question for the board: were board members invited to that unveiling?
They were. Yeah.
I missed it.
We were.
Yes.
You missed that as well, Mark?
Yeah, I did.
Yes.
Okay. All right.
We were definitely invited on the day he presented.
We were.
And I thought you got other later invitations, but
Maybe
Anything else, Andre?
Unclear. Cool. Ahmed has already followed this one up, but the netball hoop at Halswell Domain was vandalised. I understand that work is underway and has been followed up, but I'm also happy to help assist with that. Next issue, Wilmers Road and access to Warren Park. Faye, I imagine you've likely already forwarded this on for a response, but just so I've got it noted here anyway, there's the potholes along Wilmers Road that where people need to park and access Warren Park. We're talking some pretty big potholes that a car will likely get lost in. I understand repairs were hoping to take place before winter.
that's what I was told, Andre, and I have followed up, and I'll let you know as soon as I hear.
Cool.
Beautiful. Thank you.
I totally agree with you on that, and I'd like staff to investigate whether there's actually a water main leak down there, because even in the driest of weather, there's still water ponding there. Yep. Thanks for
beautiful.
that.
But yeah, looks like potholes big enough for a Range Rover to get stuck. So it's
I've had to tow vehicles out of there, Andre. So I know.
Oh yeah. Well, there you go. And so just lastly, the streaming and everything today, the microphones at the boardroom sound crystal clear. Staff have done an amazing job. It's all operating very, very smoothly. So kudos to all. It's I think it's going great.
Thank you. I'd like to pass that on to Matthew, who is our technical expert and genius in this field. And he's been sharing his expertise and our equipment with the Fen Dalton Waimari Harewood Community Board as well. It's good. Thank you.
Legend.
I got Mark and then Debbie.
Very good. There was an interesting post on the Hornby Residents Association page, which I passed on to Matt quite quickly to see if we can't find a way to progress the idea of a bridge across the stream in Broomfield Common.
Yes.
I think that's a marvellous idea. So thanks to the community board for bringing that to attention. And we'll refer that towards staff to try and find out some options and figure out what.
Totally agree.
And just as a note on that, the Hornby Rotary Club were really quite keen to be involved in being part of that solution. So
I think if we get a Hornby men's shed as well, they could well be a party to assisting in these sort of things.
Yeah.
It's not a river.
No.
Most of the time, it's not really. We're not really requesting the bridge over the River Kwai.
No.
But just a one on that. So anything else there, Mark?
I'd also like to say thank you to the staff, the arborists in particular, for coming and being present. It was a very productive meeting, I felt, and I think it gave the residents some good hope. Yep. And hopefully when we see the report and back from staff, we'll be able to see some way forward that, okay, it might take a few years to get to a conclusion fully, but at least we can start the process and work through.
I felt that the residents accepted that it won't happen overnight, but to get that changed so in time it will be a better area with natives in there.
Absolutely.
But anyway, I was pleased to see so many, what do we call them? Butterflies, monarch butterflies there. They were there in their hundreds that day. So
that was very, very.
Thanks, Mark.
And then I guess we've seen the Richmond Avenue continue to bubble away.
Yes.
Hopefully we'll be seeing that before our board before long to make a decision on something. It would be a shame that it's not a decision to steepen up the edges of the hump. But I guess at least we can get something underway.
It was interesting to see the statistics that have come back from our enforcement. Police have been issuing a number of speeding tickets and infringements in that wider area, including Halswell Junction Road as well, which is quite heartening.
Yeah.
So thanks for that.
Do we have an expected date on that report at this point?
Yeah,
we're into June, wasn't it?
We're anticipating it for the end of the financial year. So
end of June.
Yeah. So the next board meeting, I think, is the 28th of June.
The next one.
Yes.
So I'm speaking to staff tomorrow to give them the biggest push that we can to get it across the line to get that report to us the next time round.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Extend another matter on Andre's behalf is he was still waiting the report for the speed signage throughout the Knight Stream Longhurst area, which from his bringing it to our attention and asking for a report, and we're still waiting for that. It's hopefully somewhere in the process.
Okay, thank you. I see Matthew's noting that, but
You're referring, Mark, to the notice of motion I put forward in May last year.
Yeah. I'm hearing that we may be having some idea from traffic engineers about speed monitoring has been going on through Wigram Skies, and potentially some extra signage through there as well, hopefully, because
I know that they have done the speed monitoring and they are looking at remedies. So I think the speed monitoring has shown some issues, and they're looking at how that should be addressed, whether it be by increased signage or I think other measures.
Okay, because I've certainly had in my case Mary Corbett, who's a past elected member from the Paparoa County. She's written to me asking for this to be looked at, and one of the other things she wrote as well about was whether we look into some parking issues that are happening around the Wigram Lady Wigram retirement park. We find it difficult getting in and out of their driveways. Whether we could ask staff to have a look at.
Fair enough. There's a lot happening in that area. Yes. Yeah. Thank you.
And then of course there's Albertia Gardens, where we had that deputation come to us about the
My understanding is that they've
There's a lot of work
added
going
that
on there.
into the Wigram Sky, so
Yeah.
they've done some monitoring in there at the same time, so it'll be part of it.
Good. So wheels are in motion, yes, which is heartening.
It is.
Okay, thank you, Mark. And Debbie?
Thank you. Just following on from that, we had mentioned some time ago, didn't we, that, or had we, that the community are actually requesting that we paint the 40 kilometres on the road, because the little tiny 40 kilometre signs, particularly talking about Wigram, are difficult to see and note.
Yep.
So if that can be looked into, would be great. The other thing too is, I think that meeting on the 28th, our next board meeting, Matthew, I think you mentioned that there's going to be a report back to us regarding the Richmond F berm planting on that corner.
Yes.
Is that correct as well? So that will all be, no doubt, in that one report. I'd also like to follow on from what Anne said when we were zooming in from our last meeting, and Mike, you've set yourself a record for short meetings there. Well done. But you know, when we were there was Anne, myself, Andre, and Gamal, and we did notice the size of the venue. And in these times, I agree with Anne, in these times where space is required, but also where more people are wanting to attend, it's a great venue for that, as is the Halswell Library as well, as options, or if we feel that there's a larger number of people that are wanting to attend. It was a great venue, and it was certainly highlight the venue as well when a lot of people don't even know it's there. The other thing is, can we send a note of thanks to, going back to what Mike brought up about the site visit to the Hornby Pool at Kyle Park, to our project manager, to Peter, to Naylor Love and other contractors that were there. They made us feel incredibly welcome, and you know, put on a pile of food for us, but it was just a lovely day, thankfully, lovely sunny day, and we absolutely, you know, value everything that Peter's done. And like I said, the contractors were really welcoming, and it was great to learn what's going on there. And look forward, they have invited us for progressive visits, so we do look forward to the next visit. So are we able to send a note of thanks to Peter and the contractor as well?
Yes, there's nods going around here. Yes.
I'll note it in the minutes and send it on.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thanks, Debbie.
That's all from me.
Helen, have you got your hand up again?
Yes, I have. It's following on from Richmond Avenue. We're going to get the options, but it doesn't take away the kind of frustrations which board members and residents have in fact had. And we still haven't got a raised platform, where we've got a very low platform. So again, I'll just put to people, and maybe there's some people who would like to complain to Dawn directly on that, or maybe not. But I think for this issue about how long it's taken and it's not a raised platform, I personally think we should send something in and just
let's wait for the report on the 28th.
Yeah.
Let's wait for the report to come back on the 28th.
And take it from there.
Okay.
Yep.
Right.
Yep, just one final thing, just to remind everyone about the Matariki Fun Day.
Yes.
The Residents Association Hornby have put together for Saturday. So you're all more than welcome. Please bring all your friends and family and have a fantastic day at the South Hornby School from 11 till 2 on Saturday, the Matariki Fun Day.
Yep. All noted. We've all got notice of that anyway. Thank you. Okay, if there's no further business, no further information we wish to exchange, we'll declare the meeting closed. Thank you very much. Thank you very much, everybody, for your attendance today.
Thank you, everyone.
And thanks, staff, for your help and support.
Thank you.
Thank you, everybody.
I'll declare the meeting closed.